I never thought I'd be writing one of these posts, but here I am. I'm Connor, 33M, and this is the story of how my brother Ryan, 31M, stabbed me in the back by dating and getting engaged to my ex-girlfriend, Natalie, 29F. Ryan and I grew up in a small town in Ohio. Our parents ran a local hardware store, and we spent our summers helping out there. We were always competitive as kids, whether it was in sports, academics, or vying for our parents' attention. Ryan was the golden child, charismatic, athletic, and popular. I was more introverted and focused on my studies. Despite our differences, we were close. We had each other's backs when it mattered. I left for college in New York when I was 18, eager to experience life in the big city. Ryan stayed closer to home, attending a state university. It was during my sophomore year that I met Natalie. She was a freshman, bright-eyed and full of energy. We met at a campus coffee shop where she worked part-time. I was immediately drawn to her wit and infectious laugh. Natalie and I started dating a few months later. She was my first serious girlfriend, and I fell hard. We were inseparable throughout college. Natalie was studying to become a teacher, while I was pursuing a degree in finance. We had big dreams of building a life together in New York after graduation. Ryan met Natalie during one of their visits home. They seemed to hit it off, bonding over their shared love of outdoor activities. I was happy they got along so well. Little did I know how that friendship would evolve. After college, Natalie and I moved in together in a tiny apartment in Brooklyn. I landed a job at a finance firm, working long hours to climb the corporate ladder. Natalie found a teaching position at a local elementary school. We were happy, but the stress of our careers started to take a toll on our relationship. We dated for 5 years, and I really thought she was the one. We had talked about marriage and kids, but things started falling apart in the last year of our relationship. I was working 60-hour weeks, often bringing work home. Natalie felt neglected and started pushing for more commitment. She wanted to get married and start trying for a baby, but I wasn't ready. I wanted to focus on my career and wasn't prepared to settle down. The breaking point came when I missed Natalie's 25th birthday dinner because of a last-minute work emergency. She was devastated, and I realized I had been taking her for granted. We had a long, painful conversation and decided to end things. It was mutual, but that didn't make it hurt any less. After the breakup, I threw myself even deeper into work. I didn't date much, still nursing my broken heart. Ryan was surprisingly supportive during this time. He'd often come visit me in the city, dragging me out to bars or sports games to cheer me up. I appreciated having my brother there for me, even if we didn't always see eye to eye. Fast forward to 6 months ago. I had finally started to feel like myself again. I decided to get back into dating and met a great girl named Rachel, 30F, through a work colleague. Rachel works in marketing and shares my love for obscure indie films. Things were going well, and I was finally feeling happy again. That's when the bomb dropped. I found out through a mutual friend, Mike, that Ryan and Natalie had been secretly dating for the past year. Mike let it slip during a phone call, assuming I already knew. I was shocked and felt utterly betrayed. When I confronted Ryan, he admitted it was true but claimed they hadn't planned it. They just fell in love after running into each other at a coffee shop in our hometown. I was furious. Of all the women in the world, why did my brother have to date my ex? And why did they keep it a secret for so long? Ryan tried to apologize, saying he didn't want to hurt me, but I couldn't believe a word he said. All I could think about was how many times he had visited me in New York, pretending to be supportive while secretly dating Natalie behind my back. The situation got even worse last week when I learned that Ryan had proposed to Natalie during a hike in the Adirondacks, a place Natalie and I had always talked about visiting together. She said yes. They're planning a big wedding for next summer and, to add insult to injury, they want me to be the best man. Are they out of their minds? I feel like I'm living in a bad soap opera. My parents are thrilled about the engagement and don't understand why I'm so upset. They keep telling me to get over it and be happy for Ryan and Natalie. But how can I when I feel so betrayed? My mom even had the audacity to suggest that this was meant to be and that Natalie was always meant to be part of our family, just not as my wife. Rachel has been supportive, but I can tell this drama is putting a strain on our new relationship. She's trying to understand, but she's never been in a situation like this before. I don't want to lose her over this, but I'm having trouble focusing on anything else. Every time we go out, I'm paranoid that we'll run into Ryan and Natalie. I've been avoiding Ryan and Natalie's calls and texts. I don't know what to say to them. Part of me wants to cut them both out of my life completely, but another part feels guilty about potentially ruining my relationship with my brother forever. We've always been there for each other, despite our differences. Can I really throw away a lifetime of brotherhood over this? To make matters more complicated, our younger sister, Emily, 27F, is getting married in 3 months. She's devastated by the rift between Ryan and me and is begging us to make peace before her wedding. I don't want to ruin her special day, but I don't know if I can pretend everything is okay for the sake of family harmony. I'm lost and could really use some advice on how to handle this mess. Am I overreacting? Should I just suck it up and accept their relationship? Or am I justified in feeling betrayed and wanting nothing to do with them? How do I navigate family events and holidays? And most importantly, how do I move forward without letting the situation poison my new relationship with Rachel? Update 1. It's been a few weeks since my last post, and things have only gotten more complicated. I appreciate all the advice and support from everyone who commented. Your perspectives have given me a lot to think about. After much consideration, I decided to meet with Ryan to hear him out. We met at a neutral location, a park near our childhood home where we used to play baseball as kids. It felt strange to be back there, surrounded by memories of simpler times. Ryan tried to explain his side of things, saying he and Natalie reconnected by chance when she moved back to our hometown after a tough year teaching in an inner-city school. He claimed their feelings developed naturally as they bonded over shared experiences and hometown nostalgia. Ryan swore they never cheated while Natalie and I were together, and that they only started dating months after our breakup. I wanted to believe him, but something felt off. When I pressed for more details about how their relationship started, Ryan got defensive and his story seemed inconsistent. He couldn't give me a straight answer about why they kept it secret for so long. He mumbled something about not wanting to hurt me, but it rang hollow. The conversation quickly turned heated. I accused Ryan of always being jealous of me and going after Natalie to one-up me, just like he did with everything when we were kids. I brought up how he'd always tried to outdo me in sports, academics, and even in our parents' eyes. Ryan fired back, calling me selfish and saying I never truly appreciated Natalie. He accused me of taking her for granted and said I was just upset because I couldn't stand to see her happy with someone else. We both said some harsh things we can't take back. Just as things were calming down, Natalie showed up unexpectedly. Apparently, Ryan had texted her to come for support. Seeing them together made my blood boil. Natalie tried to smooth things over, saying she never meant to hurt me and that her feelings for Ryan took her by surprise. But all I could think about was how many times she must have lied to me during our relationship. I couldn't stand to look at either of them. I left abruptly, ignoring their pleas to talk it out. As I walked away, I heard Natalie burst into tears and Ryan comforting her. It made me feel sick. The next day, my parents called to berate me for being unreasonable with Ryan and Natalie. They're fully on Team Ryan and think I should just get over it. My mom even suggested I give a toast at their engagement party next month. I told her that would never happen. She started crying, saying I was tearing the family apart. My dad got on the phone and told me to man up and put family first. It was like they couldn't even see my side of things. To make matters worse, I found out through the grapevine that Ryan and Natalie had been hanging out in group settings with our mutual friends for months before they officially got together. This whole time, my friends knew and didn't tell me. I feel betrayed all over again. I've been ignoring calls and messages from several friends who I now know were in on the secret. Rachel has been my rock through all of this, but I can tell she's getting frustrated with how much it's consuming me. She's trying to be understanding, but she's never been close with her own siblings, so she doesn't quite get the depth of the betrayal I'm feeling. She gently suggested I talk to a therapist to work through my feelings, but I'm not sure I'm ready for that. It feels like admitting defeat somehow. Work has been a welcome distraction, but my boss pulled me aside last week to ask if everything was okay. Apparently, my performance has been slipping. I'm worried this whole situation might start affecting my career if I can't get it under control. I'm seriously considering skipping my cousin's wedding next month to avoid seeing Ryan and Natalie. But that would only cause more family drama. My cousin and I were close growing up, and I know she'd be hurt if I missed her big day. I feel trapped and don't know how to move forward without completely blowing up my family relationships. For now, I'm maintaining low contact with Ryan and Natalie and trying to focus on my relationship with Rachel. We've been talking about taking a vacation together, maybe somewhere tropical where I can forget about all this drama for a while. But the anger and hurt are still very raw. I don't know if I'll ever be able to forgive this betrayal. To complicate things further, Natalie reached out to me directly last week. She sent a long email explaining her side of the story and asking to meet in person to clear the air. Part of me wants to hear her out, but another part is afraid of what I might learn. What if she tells me she had feelings for Ryan all along, even when we were together? I'm not sure I could handle that. As the days go by, I find myself replaying memories of my relationship with Natalie, wondering if there were signs I missed. Was she really happy with me? Did she ever truly love me, or was I just a placeholder until my brother came along? These thoughts keep me up at night. I'm trying to take things one day at a time, but it's hard when every family gathering and social event feels like a potential minefield. How do I move forward from here? Update 2. Things have taken an unexpected turn, and I'm still processing everything that's happened. Last weekend was my cousin's wedding, the one I was considering skipping. In the end, I decided to go, mainly to support Rachel who had been looking forward to it. I planned to avoid Ryan and Natalie as much as possible. The ceremony was beautiful, held in a picturesque vineyard not far from our hometown. I managed to keep my distance from Ryan and Natalie during the ceremony and cocktail hour, focusing on catching up with other relatives and introducing Rachel to everyone. But things got messy at the reception. The open bar probably didn't help matters. I was doing my best to keep my distance, but after a few drinks, Ryan approached me. He was clearly intoxicated and started making a scene, loudly accusing me of trying to ruin his happiness. I tried to walk away, but he grabbed my arm. That's when things escalated. In the heat of the moment, fueled by months of pent-up anger and alcohol, I pushed Ryan away harder than I intended. He stumbled backward and knocked over a table, causing glasses to shatter. The whole room went silent. Our parents rushed over, along with Natalie. In the chaos that followed, some harsh truths came to light. Natalie, visibly upset, blurted out that she and Ryan had actually started seeing each other while she and I were still together. They had been having an emotional affair for months before our breakup. I was stunned. All this time, they had been lying not just about the timeline of their relationship, but about its very nature. The betrayal cut deeper than I could have imagined. Memories flooded back, times when Natalie had been distant or Ryan had been overly interested in my relationship problems. It all made sense now. The revelation caused an uproar among the family. Our parents, who had been staunchly defending Ryan and Natalie, were shocked into silence. Natalie fled the reception in tears, while Ryan stood there, pale and speechless. Other family members started taking sides, some defending Ryan and Natalie, others expressing their disgust at their actions. My cousin, the bride, was understandably upset that her wedding had turned into a family soap opera. I felt terrible for ruining her big day. In the midst of the chaos, I caught her eye and mouthed "I'm sorry" before leaving the reception. I left immediately, with Rachel by my side. The drive home was tense and quiet. I could tell Rachel was processing everything too. When we got home, we had a long, difficult conversation. Rachel admitted that the ongoing drama was taking a toll on her and our relationship. She suggested we take a break to give me space to deal with my family issues. I'm devastated, but I understand her decision. This situation has consumed my life for months and it's not fair to her. I hope we can reconnect once things settle down, but I know I need to focus on healing myself first. As for Ryan and Natalie, I've decided to cut all contact. I can't have people in my life who would betray me so deeply and then lie about it for years. I've blocked their numbers and social media accounts. My parents are torn. They're angry with Ryan and Natalie for their deception but also upset with me for causing a scene at the wedding. I've told them I need space from the whole family for a while. Right now, I'm focusing on myself, throwing myself into work and trying to process everything that's happened. It's going to be a long road to healing, but for the first time in months, I feel like I can start to move forward. The days following the wedding have been a blur. I've received countless messages from family members and friends, some offering support, others demanding explanations. I've ignored most of them, needing time to process everything on my own. I can't help but replay the events of the past few months in my mind, seeing them in a new light with the knowledge of Ryan and Natalie's betrayal. It's like the foundation of my life has been shaken, and I'm struggling to find solid ground again. Update 3, it's been a few months since my last update, and I wanted to share some final thoughts on this whole situation. After the blow up at the wedding, I took some time for myself. I ended up taking a solo trip to Europe for a few weeks, something I'd always wanted to do but never found the time for. Wandering the streets of Paris and Rome, far away from the drama back home, gave me much needed perspective. Being away from all the familiar places and faces allowed me to clear my head and really think about what I wanted moving forward. When I returned, I had a long talk with my parents. It was a difficult conversation, but necessary. They apologized for not believing me initially and for pressuring me to accept Ryan and Natalie's relationship. They've realized the depth of the betrayal and are no longer pushing for reconciliation. Our relationship is slowly healing, though things aren't quite back to normal yet. We're taking it one day at a time. Ryan tried to reach out several times, leaving voicemails with tearful apologies. Natalie sent a long email explaining her side of things and begging for forgiveness. I read it but didn't respond. Their engagement is off, and last I heard, they're no longer together. Part of me feels vindicated, but mostly I just feel sad about the whole situation. It's hard to believe how much damage has been done to our family over this. I've maintained my decision to keep Ryan and Natalie out of my life. It's been difficult, especially with family events, but I know it's the right choice for my mental health. Some extended family members think I'm being too harsh, but those closest to me understand and support my decision. On a brighter note, Rachel and I reconnected after a month apart. We're taking things slow, rebuilding our relationship without the shadow of all this drama. She's been incredibly understanding and supportive through everything. We're planning a weekend getaway next month, and I'm looking forward to making new, positive memories with her. I've also started seeing a therapist to work through my trust issues and lingering anger. It's been helpful to have an objective person to talk to about everything that's happened. I'm learning to process my emotions in healthier ways and to set boundaries without feeling guilty. Work has been a welcome distraction. I've thrown myself into a new project at the office, which has helped me regain my focus and professional confidence. My boss has noticed the improvement and recently hinted at a potential promotion in the coming months. As for my sister Emily's wedding, it went ahead as planned last month. It was a bittersweet occasion. Ryan wasn't there, which was a relief for me but obviously difficult for Emily. I did my best to support her and make sure the day was special despite the family tension. We had a heart-to-heart conversation at the reception, and she told me she understood my position, even if it made things complicated. It meant a lot to hear that from her. Looking back, I can see how this experience has changed me. While I wouldn't wish this situation on anyone, I've grown stronger and learned a lot about myself. I'm more assertive about my boundaries and more discerning about who I let into my life. I've also realized the importance of open communication in relationships, something I plan to prioritize moving forward. I still have moments of anger and sadness when I think about Ryan and Natalie's betrayal, but those moments are becoming less frequent and less intense. I'm slowly learning to let go of the bitterness and focus on the good things in my life. To anyone going through a similar situation, my advice would be to trust your gut, surround yourself with supportive people, and don't be afraid to put your own well-being first, even if it means making difficult decisions about family relationships. It's a long and often painful process, but it is possible to come out the other side stronger. This will be my final update on this story. Thank you to everyone who offered advice and support throughout this journey. Your kind words and insights have been a source of strength during some very dark times. It's time for me to close this chapter and focus on building a positive future. I don't know what that future holds, but for the first time in a long time, I'm looking forward to finding out.